Hi, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Pittsburgh Sports Castle Podcast. I'm your host, Rachael Kriger. I am back this week. I don't think I missed last week, but, my days are kind of running all together, so I can never be 100% sure. So without further ado, to celebrate a belated International Women's Day, this is a girls, women's only podcast. I am here tonight with my friend, my colleague, my buddy, my fellow, what was I going to say? There's, I guess, just sports lover, Shalene Hixon. How you doing, buddy?
Doing good, Rachael. How are you?
My heart rate has gone down exponentially. I was telling Shalene before the game tonight, at time of recording, we are recording this on Tuesday night, and I coach basketball, and I just got back from a very thrilling 13-11 win. And Shalene,
yes,
let me tell you about this game, okay? Listen, this is legit. Like, I'm literally not even making this stuff up. Okay. So long story short, I'm the head coach of the JV team. And it is supposed to be fifth and sixth graders. So I have 2 5th graders and 3 6th graders, and I have 3 4th graders that play up. And tonight, one of my 5th graders was out, so I brought up one of our 3rd graders. So it was, it was a really, we needed this win to, give us a better seeding for the playoffs that start next week. And the team we played, we beat them last time 13-10. We were tied at 11-11. Listen to this, with 14 seconds left. We had the ball. We had to get the ball from one end of the court to the other. We got it over half court, and then the ball got hit out of bounds, right next to our bench.
Yeah.
So there's 4 seconds left. I call a timeout. And I drew up something and I said, here's what's going to happen. We're going to do this, 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 and this. And I looked at my 1 4th grader, Abby, and I said, give the ball to Abby. And Abby, I'm telling you right now, make contact when you're going up for a layup because you're going to get the foul.
Yeah.
And we were in the bonus too. We were in 1-1. Mm-hmm. So there's literally 4 seconds left. 4 seconds left on the clock. Abby got the foul and she goes on the line, 1-1. 2 seconds left. Oh my goodness. If you don't know basketball, listeners, 1-1 is your guaranteed 1 shot. If the shot goes in, you get a second shot. If it doesn't, it's a free ball, no points, unless you get the rebound and score. Yep. Abby nailed both of her shots.
Oh, very nice.
I was so proud. I'm literally sitting there holding my 3rd grader's hand and freaking out. And the other coach is screaming about something. And there's 2 seconds left in this game. So their coach called a timeout. And, I get the girls into a huddle. And the other girls, one of our girls is going clapping her head. I was like, stop it.
Not yet.
I said,
no.
Stop it. There's 2.1 seconds left on the clock. I said, that is plenty of time for St. Gregory's to roll the ball and get a shot up. I said, do not foul, because they were also in the bonus. So I said, do not foul and do not let them shoot. Thankfully, they did not. I can't believe they didn't roll the ball. They threw the ball and they kind of wasted the time. And
why would you not? That's basketball 101. Why wouldn't you roll the ball?
I'll tell you what. You know what? They're a lot younger than we are, and I know they were missing some of their older players. So and they're very well coached. Their coach is very good. I have a lot of respect for her, and I was just so happy we got the win.
You needed the Gatorade shower.
Yeah, I'm coming off a major high right now. So that's my basketball story, but I hope it was as exciting as I kind of hyped it up to be.
See, honestly, all that's missing were for your kids to throw the Gatorade cooler over your head. That was the finishing touch it needed.
Well, it's not playoffs yet. It's not.
You can still treat it like playoffs.
We're getting there. We've made playoffs, and now we just wait. Now we just wait on the schedule. So
playoffs.
Playoffs.
I'm glad you picked up on that one.
Oh, absolutely. Come on now. So, jock talk aside, coach talk aside, We've got a show tonight that has nothing to do with Our Lady of Fatima girls basketball. We
Unfortunately.
are talking about a number of things. We've got the Riverhounds up first, and we're going to talk some Pirates, and then we're gonna then we're gonna get right into it with the Penguins. So I'm going to start us off here first with a little bit of Riverhounds news. Not nothing, not nothing. Sweet Lord. Okay, not
Nothing.
anything too crazy. The Riverhounds have their conference for the 2021 season. They are going to be in the Atlantic Conference with the following teams: New York Red Bulls 2, Hartford Athletic, London United, Charlotte Independence, Charleston Battery, Tampa Bay Rowdies, and Miami FC. So the thing about the groups here is that number one, it doesn't include Louisville, which is kind of a shame because that's become a really fun rivalry for the Riverhounds. It hasn't really been in the Riverhounds' favor too much, but it's still a fun rivalry nonetheless. Charlotte and Charleston are two pretty good teams. I don't know too much about Miami FC. Hartford Athletic won the group that the Riverhounds were in last year, and Tampa Bay Rowdies made it to the finals last year. So that tells you something about them. So I think it'll, the schedule isn't out yet. It's not going to be out probably for a couple weeks here. The Riverhounds roster is still kind of taking shape, but still those are that's the 8-team Atlantic Conference. Pittsburgh, Red Bulls, Hartford, Loudoun, Charleston, Charlotte, Tampa Bay, and Miami FC. So that's exciting. And then just a little update here. The U.S. Open Cup, we had talked about it a couple episodes ago, that there is going to be a modified U.S. Open Cup this year. And instead of like having the usual like over 100 teams, there's only going to be, I think, 32 or 36. So the Riverhounds are not going to be in the U.S. Open Cup. What the idea is that they are planning on adding the first place teams from last year's groups. And like I had mentioned earlier, the Riverhounds finished in second place behind Hartford Athletics. So they will probably more than likely not be part of the U.S. Open Cup in the USL field. So that's just a little bit of the Riverhounds update, but also wanted to share too, a shout out to the University of Pittsburgh women's soccer team. They had a city game of their own against Duquesne this past Sunday. They won 3-0, and Landy Mertz, a freshman, she is the younger sister of former Pittsburgh Riverhound Robbie Mertz, scored 2 goals, and she was named the ACC Offensive Player of the Week. Adelie Palomo scored the other goal. I think it was the first goal of the game. So 2 goals for Landy Mertz in her collegiate debut under Randy Waldrum. So that's very exciting. I know that Marshall had to pull out of their game against Pitt towards the end of the month. So I know that the team is still kind of figuring out a second opponent. So hopefully we can, get another member of, or maybe Ben Waldrum, somebody on the show to just kind of talk about that, because they have a really good program going on up there. So shout out to them, and shout out to Alvine and Duquesne, because they are building something very special up there as well. So that's kind of the soccer news around the city. So Shalene, unless you have anything to add about the Riverhounds or Pitt women's soccer, we're gonna get right into the Pirates here. So before we kind of talk about spring training and what's kind of going on the diamond, so PNC Park had some news last week that they are aiming to allow 7,500 fans into PNC Park starting on opening day, which is on April 1st. Shalene, before I get into my Rachael rant, what are your thoughts about this? It's just, it's exciting, of course, that, fans are allowed to come back, right?
Oh, yeah, it is. I think especially for the players, because I would assume as a professional athlete, it's not really the same playing in front of absolutely no one as compared to at least some fans. This is a really bad joke, but I do have to say it if you will allow. I was just like, They have a tough time getting 7,500 fans anyway, so I mean, this isn't going to be a problem, but I still think it's a good idea, or just good for Pittsburgh sports in general, because we just need the fans back. I mean, as you've seen with the Penguins games, when they've had their fans back, it's a much different atmosphere. You actually get those reactions from the big saves or the goals or the big hits. And so to have fans at PNC Park, regardless of how little or how big the crowd is, I think it'll definitely help the players out a little more. And I just think it'll be fun to go back to games again, health permitting.
Yeah, I think you said the big thing right there at the end, health permitting. My Rachael rant is kind of a it's kind of a precautionary rant. You know, Florida and Orlando has kind of been like the home, the hub of like U.S. soccer and like MLS and everything since like they got the green light to start back up last year. It's where they had the MLS is back tournament and everything. And a lot of times, in like these U.S. national team games towards the end of the year, they were allowing fans to come back in at Orlando City Stadium. And during the playoffs for Orlando City SC, they had fans. And every time the camera would like pan on the fans would have their masks down or they would, not be distancing. And it was like, okay, like I get it. Like you want things to go back to normal, but like things aren't normal. And like, I mean, Florida is just, is like an epicenter of the pandemic. And so it's, my Rachael rant for this is like, just don't be like the Florida peeps and like go into the stadium, pull your masks down, not distance. Like people, we are still in a pandemic. The vaccines are, being spread around a little bit more. So, thank goodness for that. Hopefully people are taking advantage of that. Just open, but be smart about it because I mean, I hate to, kind of put the Penguins on the spot here, but kind of have to address the elephant in the room here, the photoshopped picture. If you don't know about this, the Penguins had tweeted out a picture like about, welcoming their fans back, and the Penguins photoshopped the picture to make it because there were at least I think 3 fans that weren't wearing their masks at all, or they weren't wearing them right. And the Penguins, instead of, going ahead with the original photo, thought nobody was going to figure it out, and they photoshopped it to make it look like they were wearing their masks right, and it gained a lot of attention for a lot of the wrong reasons. So that's just, these are all things that are, just keeping in mind. Open, but like, don't be stupid, open smart. So the Penguins opening day is coming up, my goodness, April 1st. Yeah. Hey, no, sorry. Yeah, Pirates opening day is coming up against the Chicago Cubs, April 1st. So, again, open smart. And Shalene, any thoughts about the about the Pirates here in spring training?
Yeah, I would just say, like you said, open, but open, smart. I saw something today. I feel like it was either Instagram or Twitter where someone posted a photo of, had to have been some doctor with a quote that along the lines was just like, let's not declare victory yet. You don't declare victory in the third quarter. And it's like, it's the truth. You can see the light at the end of the tunnel, but that doesn't automatically mean that everything's perfectly fine again. We're still in a pandemic. And until we just have to open smart. We just have to do things the right way, the smart way. Just keep social distancing, keep wearing the mask, get the vaccine when you can. And then everything will just fall into place after that. So yeah, we just have to be smart and just keep doing what we've been doing, and hopefully it'll all just end sooner rather than later.
That is a resounding retweet from me, pretty much. Spring training is underway for the Pirates. I know that I believe they're airing games on AT&T. Correct me if I'm wrong, Shalene. But definitely check those out. Baseball's coming soon. It's coming fast and furious. So buckle up. I think it'll be. I think just because of how everybody is so cooped up at home and everything. I think they're going to get some people at these games this year. I know I want to go, for sure. I'm definitely a little bit more comfortable because I am vaccinated. That doesn't mean I'm not going to follow the rules. So again, if you do plan, just, if you plan on going to these games and stuff, just be smart about it, folks. Keep in mind, not just yourself, but the people around you. So, Shalene, I know you've been waiting to talk about the Penguins. So, um, here come the Penguins out from the depths. They have won 4 out of their last 5 games. Is this kind of turning a new leaf? Is Mike Sullivan's job a little bit more safe now?
I sure hope so. I always feel like it's the Penguins' MO to always have a very slow start to the season and then pick it up towards the middle and end of the year. And I would rather have it that way because you get all the kinks and all the bad parts of your game out early. I would like I said, I would just rather start slow and then pick it up when you need to pick it up most, because that's really is what the playoffs are all about. It's always about who's the hotter team going into the playoffs. And as of this recording, like Rachael said, we're recording this Tuesday night. We are now 3rd in the East Division, which I don't think even a month ago a lot of people would have expected. And we are now actually only 1 point behind Washington and 2 points ahead of Boston, which is very surprising. How I'm not going to say Boston's been free falling, but they were in first place for a little while, and now the Islanders are first of all teams, but they've definitely been catching fire a lot too. And we were kind of talking about this before we went live. This East is going to be close the entire season. There's just too many good teams, and the smallest mistakes could end up being fatal at the end of the year. And I even said it, that there's going to be a good team not making the playoffs this year in the East. When you have 5 good teams and only 4 make it, those small mistakes at the beginning of the year are going to be magnified times 100 towards the end. So hopefully all the big slip-ups and whatever we're out of it now. We've grown out of it, because we can't afford to keep battling back to get a point in overtime. We can't keep giving the other team these extra points, because these extra points are going to end up costing us at the end of the season.
Good stuff there, Shalene. The Penguins have been a roller coaster this year. And one thing that, Owen Krebs, our friend and colleague, has been saying on this show for the last couple of weeks is that it's okay to have a rebuilding year. And I think that's kind of what the Penguins are having. But at the same time, it's how do you kind of get that across to the fans? Because they're so used to winning, that having a rebuilding year is what? Come on, we're the Penguins, we don't have those, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What's kind of, your take on that?
I personally wouldn't really call it a rebuilding year, because I feel like if that was the case, someone like Malkin or Letang would have already been traded away. And I feel like if Rutherford was still around, that would probably be a possibility. But I think with the core of Crosby, Malkin, Letang, I think we still have a chance of winning a cup at some point. You just have to find the right people to build around them. And right now, I wouldn't say we're there yet, unless certain things just start falling into place and everybody starts finding their groove. And like I said earlier, the mistakes start to dwindle away. But yeah, I wouldn't go so far as to say it's a rebuilding year. There were definitely some moves in the offseason that I particularly didn't like when they got rid of Patrick Hornquist. I was not a fan of that one, and it showed, because now all of a sudden he's scoring all these goals in Florida, and we're missing the net front presence that we need this year. But yeah, it's kind of like with the Steelers too. You get so used to your team winning and being successful and being the standard bearers in the league of this is what a winning team looks like, to now it's I don't know if they're going to make the playoffs, or I don't see this as a championship caliber team, because like you said, us Pittsburgh fans are very spoiled because we just always go into every year expect, oh, this is a championship caliber team. We're gonna win the division. We're gonna win the conference. We're gonna win the Super Bowl, the Stanley Cup. And it's like it's tough right now, but I still have faith in the team. But then again, I always feel like I have faith in the team to some degree. So yeah, we'll see what happens in the next, well, obviously 2 months because there's only 2 months in the season. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I wouldn't count the Penguins out just yet.
How important, and this is kind of off the cusp, it's not really in our notes here. It kind of is, to your points here about Malkin. You wrote in here, since, February 18th, he's had 12 points, 3 goals and 9 assists in 11 games. And he's also had at least 1 point in his last 5 games. I feel like for me, what I've seen of him and what I've seen, people saying of him, it's like when Malkin is on, he's like really, really on. And when he's off, it's not just that he's like really off, but it kind of trickles over to the whole team. So how important is he to the Penguins?
He's absolutely important to the Penguins. Like you said, when he's on, he's one of the best players in the league, where it's like he can dance around the ice and deke past all these guys and go through the entire defense and score these goals and get these points like it's nothing. But when he's off, you can tell he is really in his own head. Like the beginning of the season, especially, because it got to the point where it's like as soon as he got the puck, I feel like every Penguins fan like collectively held their breath because they're like, oh God, is he going to turn this over? Is this going to be a scoring chance for the other team? Like, you almost didn't want him to get the puck because you were just afraid he was going to overthink it, do something really stupid, and possibly end up in the back of our net. But now it's like I think he's starting to get his confidence back. And like you said a little bit ago, the fact that he's getting at least a point and then 1 point in his last 5 games, getting 3 goals and 9 assists in his last 11, it shows that he's getting his groove back. And I think a big contributor to that is Kasperi Kapanen and how good he's been doing, because let's face it, he wasn't doing good either at the beginning of the year. He got benched. Sullivan benched him when we beat the Islanders 3-2 on February 20th. And Sullivan basically called him out. He's like, he's not playing the way we want him to. And so that was like a wake-up call for him. And most players respond one of 2 ways. They either let that completely destroy their confidence and continue to go into a free fall, or you use that as motivation to come back and play better. And Kapanen absolutely has played so much better since he got benched. Since that day, he's put up 10 points, 5 goals, and 5 assists in 9 games. He's blowing past guys with he's easily the fastest skater on the Penguins, one of the fastest guys in the league. And when he's feeling it, he's feeling it. Like, the one play on his goal tonight, I remember reading on Twitter, I think it was Dan Kingerski on Twitter, on that play, which is easily so far the best play of the season with the Penguins, hands down. It was a passing clinic. That shows you how good the Penguins can be when their game is on. They had 21 consecutive passes and 22 consecutive touches. So the Penguins touched the puck 22 times without the Rangers touching it. That's pretty impressive. To have that much aggressiveness and just domination in the offensive zone, for it to lead to a goal, that is what Penguins fans are used to. So I'm glad that that's still a thing. I'm glad that we're still able to at least get to that. We just want to see that happen more often, because if you can do that to play or to the opposing team more than once a game, you can overwhelm them pretty quickly. And the Penguins are capable of overwhelming their opponents with speed and skill. And I think that play especially proves that they can still do it. And yeah, it's just now the fact that you have Kapanen and Malkin getting back to their game, and the fact that Letang is still doing better than he had at the beginning of the season too. Just to have everybody, the big name players that you want to contribute to the team, doing well, that's what you need to get into the playoffs. That's what you need to be successful in the playoffs. And same goes for goaltending too. Tristan Jarry's been great lately. Again, beginning of the year, kind of iffy, kind of shaky. Had people wondering, do we really have, or like, were we wrong in putting our faith in Jarry and DeSmith as well? He's been great. Tonight, he made 33 saves on 35 shots, and to be quite honest, he stole the win for the Penguins tonight. They were leading 3-2 with about 3 minutes, 2.5 minutes left in regulation. They could have easily, or the Rangers could have easily tied that game on, if I can remember correctly, 3 separate occasions, and he stopped them all. Like, I know you always put links and whatever with the podcast. We need to put the highlights from that game so people can see, because I can't do those saves justice just by talking about them. They were fantastic. If they would have had those chances, even one after the other, it easily could have been 5-3 New York, and all of a sudden we don't have the 2 points. So you need your goalies to make those kind of saves in those high-pressure situations, because if they fold and crumble, you're not going to have a good time come playoffs. So I'm just happy that we're getting all the guys that you need to contribute. And now once you just start getting the bottom forwards, the third line's been doing good, but you also need the fourth line to step up too. And now that you have the defense starting to get involved and making plays and not turning the puck over consistently as soon as it touches their stick, it's looking pretty good right now. I mean, granted, we had a little bit of a slip up against the Flyers this weekend. We don't want to talk about that, but overall, it's been really good stretch for them so far.
And, you just brought up Tristan Jarry. Really, really solid saves tonight. Solid goalkeeper coming around. Do you think that, I saw some article this week that was like, Jim Rutherford, before he, retired as a general manager, had said that he was trying to do everything in his power to bring MarcAndre Fleury back. Do you try to even bring him back at this point?
At this point, no. I mean, Jarry's not given them a reason to want to add another goaltender, because even when he gets the night off, Casey DeSmith's shown that he's a capable backup. And it almost seemed like as soon as that whole rumor came around with Fleury, it seemed like that was when Jarry started to turn things around. So kind of like Kapanen getting benched, I think he used that as motivation, and he's been really good since then. So I feel like when it comes to Fleury, Penguins fans would want him back for the nostalgia. And yeah, he's playing out of his mind right now, but if Jarry's doing good and winning us games and keeping the puck out of the net more often than not, I'm not sure why you need to bring anybody in right now.
Yeah, I think that even to your point about the nostalgia, I just think that, he had his run here, and it's one of those things that, you're supposed to be signing players because of, their talent and what they can do, not because of happy memories. I don't know. Maybe I'm too much of a I just don't like the sappy.
Man, I mean, he's playing really good right now. I'll give him that. He's had, I think, 4 shutouts already this year, so he's playing absolutely out of his mind. If he's probably one of, if not the best goaltender right now, but still, we would give up way too much for him. I guarantee it. So I just don't think it's a good idea right now. I still think at some point he'll end up retiring a Penguin. I think he just loves the city and the fan base too much in the organization. But yeah, for now, Tristan, Jarry, and Casey DeSmith are doing a good job. So I don't think we need to change anything.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
I was just about to say that.
It's the old saying. It's the age-old saying.
Yeah.
So just kind of previewing a little bit here. The Penguins are heading on the road to take on the Buffalo Sabres, who are kind of struggling here on Thursday and Saturday nights. So two good games coming up for the Penguins. You think that these are must-wins? Do you think they're quote-unquote easy points?
Well, Rachel, if you look at this matchup on paper, as we said earlier, we're third in the division right now, only 1 point out of second place. And then you look at Buffalo, who is 6-4 or 6-14-4. So by most standards, that is not good. That is not a good record at all. They are basically in a free fall along with Jersey. So you would think any reasonable person would look at that on paper and be like, oh, yeah, that's easily 4 points for Pittsburgh. They're going to beat them on Thursday. They're going to beat them on Saturday, and they're going to move on. Except most Pittsburgh sports fans should know Pittsburgh sports teams, and this doesn't pertain to just the Penguins, it pertains to the Steelers and the Pirates too. We have a very bad habit of playing down to really bad teams. So, should we win these? Yes. Are we going to make it difficult on ourselves? Probably also yes. Especially, and you even look, I heard the captain for the Sabres, Jack Eichel, he's out with an upper body injury, possibly long term. So when probably your best player on the team's out, you would think the Penguins are going to steamroll them. They should. Will they? I don't know, but we'll see, because even from tonight's game and the night before, the Penguins still don't like opening the scoring ever, because they didn't score the opening goal the last few games, but I think we should beat them. I just have a very bad feeling it's not going to be as easily as it should, because we've just seen this movie way too many times before with our good old Pittsburgh sports teams.
The tale is old as time. Why don't you do me a favor, though? Why don't you give me some final score predictions?
Oh, jeez. Oh, boy. Well, for Thursday, I feel like... I need to think here, Rachel. Put me on the spot like this. Well, if the last few games are any indication, Buffalo's probably going to get the first goal, because, again, we're apparently allergic to scoring first. But I feel like for the most part, after the other team scores first, we tend to finally, like, kick it in high gear and actually play like the team we're supposed to play. So I'll say for Thursday, we're going to win 3-1. And then Saturday, I feel like Buffalo's going to play us a little better than Thursday. So I'm going to say kind of the same scenario as tonight, and it'll be 3-2. We'll get the empty netter. So I say 4-2.
Good stuff. I'm going to go with exactly what you just said, because,
of course,
my hockey knowledge is a bit limited.
And then if I'm wrong, you can scream at me for it. Like, I told you, it was not going to be that.
Yeah, like I copied off of your test and somehow I still failed,
See, but remember, Rachel, when we went to that game a few years ago against Dallas, you asked me before the game what was going to happen. And I'm like, it's going to happen with this score. And you're going to be like, no, it's not. And what happened? It was the same exact score. So,
listeners, I have, listeners, I really don't know what she's talking about. I think, Shalene and I have been friends for a long time now.
Since how long has it been?
For almost 5 years. I think almost 5 years.
I was gonna say, I think it was like I met you guys sophomore year of college.
Yeah, your sophomore year, my freshman year, so about 5 years now.
Yeah, about 5 or 6 years. Hasn't been that long already, honestly.
Yeah, you know what? I think this year it'll be 6.
Feels like it was just yesterday.
So if you can't tell, listeners, we like to bust each other a little bit. So I don't know what she's talking about. I think she's a liar. I don't know how to segue to the end here, but anyway, before we get to our final thoughts, just a shout out to the Pittsburgh Sports Castle Twitter at PGH Sports Castle. Cody has at Let's Talk Pens. Give them a follow. Check them out. I'm at Rachael Kriger. She is at Shalene Hixon 21. We're on all major platforms, including Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Be sure to check us out by searching our name. We are also on Google Podcasts, Deezer, Podcast Addict, Podchaser, and of course Spreaker, where we record the shows. Please rate. Let me try that again. Please rate, review, and subscribe to the show. Your feedback is important to us, and any reviews posted will definitely help make the podcast more visible to listeners. Shalene, Shalene, why don't you go first since you're our lovely guest? What are your final thoughts tonight?
Well, I had in mind when we were going to do this last week, I wanted to say, well, I mean, I will still say it because it's still the truth, always and forever, that the west side of PA is the best side of PA. And I'm sure our listeners would hopefully agree. But since we already beat the Flyers 2 out of 3 times, I will say this. Like the Penguins' Twitter said tonight after the game, a happy Cappy is a happy Pittsburgh, and you know what? That is good enough for me.
Short, sweet, and to the point, listeners. That's your new catchphrase. My last words are extremely ridiculous. And I have a simple equation here. And listen, I'm not an equation person. I don't do math. I don't do science. But Vanessa Hudgens times High School Musical times the Pirates. Let's make it happen. If Cole Tucker, doesn't have at least once, if he hits a home run, I feel like they should play "We're Soaring, Flying."
Oh my God.
That's the first and only and last time I will ever sing on this podcast, ladies and gentlemen. God. Those are my last words. I need to sign off on this show so I can go celebrate our win with a victory beer by myself here in my apartment, but whatever. Listeners, of course, if you have any podcast prompts and topics, if you want to talk High School Musical with me, feel free to reach out to members of our team or the Pittsburgh Sports Castle Twitter to send some ideas along. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you next time.